everyone, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue here with the NFC East report. The NFC East report is pretty fast this week because Mazo and I have already talked about the Giant game, and the Eagles play the Commanders. So the Eagles bring their 12-2 record into Washington to face the Commanders with their 9-5 record. As we know, the Eagles are on a hot streak. They've won about 1 million games in a row, led by some guy who used to play here. I don't want to get into his name again. But more importantly, their defense is really playing well. They are tied for first in the league in points allowed with only 17.5 points per game. They're tied for eighth in the league in points scored with 26 points a game, 26.5 points a game. So they're really, firing on all cylinders right now, which hurts me to say, but let's give props where it's due. The Eagles are doing really well. The Commanders, who have struggled of late, still are sixth in the league in points scored with 28.3 points per game. They're 16th in the league, right in the middle, in points allowed at 22.5 points a game. Another thing to be concerned about is the injury list, as always. The Eagles' questionables, people who are limited in practice this week, is fairly short but significant. Landon Dickerson and Sidney Brown, the safety, and A.J. Brown, although A.J. has said that he's definitely going to play. For the Commanders, the questionable list is Jeremy Chin, Cleveland Ferrell, Zach Ertz, Daron Payne, and their guards, Michael Dieter and Sam Cosmi. So they've got a much longer list of questionables. We'll see how many of them actually play. As far as who's out, we know the Eagles already have put several people on IR. James Bradbury's been on IR forever. Brandon Graham's on IR. Dallas Goedert's on IR. And Bryce Huff is out this week. He's not on IR, but he's out this week. For Washington, wide receiver Noah Brown is out. And they are ruling out Austin Eckler and kicker Austin Seibert. So those are some pretty significant people on Washington, both the limited participant and out list. So Washington is not going to be at full strength at all. They are at home, but the Eagles are on a roll and are healthier. So, who knows? It looks like the Eagles might continue their hot streak. Later on, we also have Tampa Bay bringing their 8-6 record into Dallas to play against the Cowboys in their 6-8 record. Tampa Bay comes in fourth in the league in scoring, averaging 28.8 points a game. They're 19th in defense, allowing 23.3 points a game. Dallas is 19th in scoring. They're scoring 21 points a game, and they're 30th, which is actually an improvement for them in defense, giving up 27 points a game. As we know, Dak Prescott is out for the season, which is obviously, devastating for their, thin playoff hopes anyway. But they also are listed as questionable Cooper Beebe, Jordan Lewis, and Mozzie Smith. And obviously alongside Dak is DeMarvion Overshown. Their linebacker is out, as is Zach Martin and cornerback Kalen Carson. So they've got a pretty lengthy and extensive and significant list of people that are missing. As far as Tampa Bay, their list of questionables, people who are not fully participating in practice yet, are Tristan Wirfs, tight end Cade Otton, former Giant Sterling Shepard, and rookie running back Bucky Irving. And as you know, their free safety Antoine Winfield and wide receiver Chris Godwin are out for the season, so they're definitely not playing. So that's the NFC East report. There aren't that many people, that many games in the NFC East that we haven't talked about yet. But I will say that the Giants game, which we talked about quite extensively, is the game that I'm most concerned about, because not only do the Giants need to not win this game, I hate to say that as much as I love the Giants and want them to win, as far as the draft position, they need to not win this game. But more importantly, we are going to face the person I wanted us to pick in the first round last year. I wanted us to pick a quarterback, and specifically Michael Penix. If we had the first overall pick in the draft, I would have taken Michael Penix. I think he's going to be the best quarterback that came out of that draft last year, and it really pains me that we didn't take him. So I'm more than a little disappointed that we now have to face him. But I guess, we have that coming. So now I'm going to turn to the trivia question. Last week's trivia question is, which 3 New York Giants are tied for the most kickoff return touchdowns as a Giant? And I left out, I have to say, in the regular season. So if any of you picked the 4th Giant, who also is tied with them, who did it in the postseason, I'll give you credit for that. So the 3 who did it in the regular season are Clarence Childs, Rocky Thompson, Willie Ponder, and in the postseason, Ron Dixon. Ron Dixon's and the number of kickoff return touchdowns is two, which is pretty paltry, but is two. Ron Dixon had two postseason kickoff return touchdowns, but none in the regular season. And the other three guys had three regular season kickoff return touchdowns and none in the postseason. So there you have it. And so now I'm going to ask you this week's trivia question. This week's trivia question. Am I going to be able to share my screen? As always, I'm having technical difficulties, so I'm not going to share my screen. I'm just going to say to you, the trivia question is, in 2023, last season, we set a very dubious 20-year record in the NFL with regard to turnovers. What was that record? So again, last year, we set a dubious distinction, set a dubious record with regard to turnovers. And I'm asking you, what was that record that we set last year, a 20-year record? So there you have it. That's the NFC East report and trivia question for this week. As I said, we talked about the Giant game already. Please go back and check that out. Please drop a like, a comment, a share. Let people know what we're talking about and share with us what you think about what we're talking about. So again, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas, all about Big Blue. I'm out.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.